Hello, Knockouts. Tonya TKO here, and I am a self-love specialist and relationship expert from TonyaTKO.com. I help you learn how to love yourself and each other. On this channel, we talk about self-loving or self-abusing through relationship, as well as viral video topics that can be made into teachable moments for our lives in terms of dating and relating. And as you see from the thumbnail and the title of this video, we're going to be talking about Dominique Williams Lawyer today. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce her name, whether it's Shequel or Shequel, but we're going to take a look at this. I first saw this, so thank you to the person who sent this to me on Instagram. You all are really on it and on top of it. And then you all just kept sending it to me and linking it in the comments and everything. So I figured this is something that I need to take a look at. So we're going to be looking at this together for the first time. When I saw it on Instagram, it was a story, and I scrolled through the first two parts and I was like, what in the world? Then I saw that there were many parts. So I was like, you know what? Let me watch this for the first time with you all. So are you all ready to jump into it? And then I have a special treat for you afterwards. All right, so let's jump into it.
Good morning. My name is Shequel Ross. I am an attorney here in the Atlanta, Georgia area. I want to talk to you a little bit about who I am as an attorney. I represent truth. I represent honesty. I represent character. I represent injustice, those who have been falsely accused. I have represented numerous clients, from NFL players to celebrity artists to football players, and also other club involving incidents. I have been chosen to represent Dominique Williams. When I say Dominique Williams, this goes to the incident that occurred at Opera Nightclub here in Atlanta, Georgia, involving a young woman by the name of Jasmine Eiland. So let's just talk a little bit about this. This brings us to this case and the reason why I'm actually here. Now, the goal is about truth. The goal is about evidence. The goal is about facts. Let's talk a little bit about the facts of this case. It's at a nightclub. It's dark. People are partying. People are having a good time. There was an incident that occurred. The facts of this case show that people are dancing. The facts of this case show that nothing happened. The facts of this case show that people standing around were not alerted when it comes to an assault, a sexual assault, or an actual rape. The facts of this case do not show that something occurred or that my client took Miss Eiland off and there was no distress. The facts of this case show that those standing around did not alert, call the police, get attention to a bodyguard, or stop any acts that occurred, because there were no acts that actually occurred. Now, my client did not take Miss Eiland off to a room. There's witnesses and evidence that shows that there was aid being given by that room. The facts of this case do not show that my client led her off, abused her, misused her, or raped her, or sexually assaulted her. The facts of this case show that it was a consensual dance at the beginning. So, why are we actually here, though? In fact, after the actual taking her to the side of the room, the main thing is that the police were not called. In fact, Miss Jasmine Eiland entered a twerk contest. Not only did she dance afterwards with my client, she got on stage when she heard her song play and entered a twerk contest. There were several people around that even tried to pull her skirt down so that way she would not show her goods to the public. The facts of this case is that afterwards she went to eat with other guys. The facts of this case was that she is admitted that there was not a rape. My client has been crucified and my client has been convicted in the media. So I'm here to get down to the bottom of this, and I do think the evidence will show otherwise, that this was not a rape. I do believe and I do understand that sexual assault is a sensitive issue when it comes to the Me Too movement. But this is not about he too. This is not about my client being accused of rape, because there was no rape. I do believe the evidence in this case will show that he assisted her, he aided her, he danced consensually with her. Moreover, my client and I have been in full cooperation and communication with the police department, because we are trying to get to the truth at that as well. And I do believe that the evidence will show otherwise. But get this, There's been no probable cause to make an arrest on a rape. No probable cause or warrant that exists right now to make an arrest on a sexual assault. No probable cause or warrant to make an arrest on any type of sexual battery, sexual assault, or any type of sexual crime. And that is the truth. And that's why we're here today, to get to the bottom of the truth. So right now, I want to open it up to questions. I know you guys are probably wondering and waiting for me to answer any questions. So I want to say thank you, and I'll give the floor to you guys.
Attorney Ross, you've kind of laid out some of the allegations of what had happened at the nightclub. So, did you see the video?
Yes, I've actually seen the video.
So, something did happen.
Well, I've seen the same video that everybody else has seen. I have seen it over and over. I have a social media team combing through social media. We're putting together all the different videos. We're cooperating with the police department. Not necessarily that something happened, but I'm saying that I've seen the same videos. What I could tell you what didn't happen was a rape. What I could tell you what didn't happen was a sexual assault. That's what I could tell you. What I could tell you that is not going on right now is a warrant from the police department or an actual grand jury warrant from the district attorney's office. No charges have been filed based on that video.
Your client, Mr. Williams, has been accused of drugging the alleged victim. Any facts behind that?
Just like I said, the video, we've seen the video several times. There's no fact that my client actually drugged this young woman. My client doesn't do drugs. My client has served in the military. My client has custody of his children. My client doesn't buy drugs or do drugs, so he wouldn't drug anybody else. So there's no facts that support that my client drugged this young woman, and there's no probable cause to make an arrest of somebody actually drugging someone.
Now, from this video, did you go seek the client, or did the client, Mr. Williams, come for looking for legal representation for?
My client actually reached out to me. I believe I have been chosen for this cause. There have been many out there who have been falsely accused of several things, sexual assault all the way to stealing. So I believe not only did God put it in his heart to choose me, I was chosen. I'm a woman. So he reached out to us. I did not know who he was. I did not know of the incident. He contacted us, and we have been in full communication with him since.
Okay, so there we have it. You know, one of the downfalls of doing these reaction videos live is that I don't get the opportunity to do some research beforehand, because she talked about probable cause. And listen. Oh, now things are getting very interesting, aren't they? Whew. Let's talk for a second about what it is that we see. So we see a lawyer who is a black female who is defending this guy who is accused of sexual assault, or I don't know if he's being accused of anything else besides sexual assault. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to look at the language for rape, and we're going to look at the language for sexual assault in Georgia. But she talked about probable cause, and when I took my law classes in college, from what I remember about probable cause, is more than a reasonable suspicion that a crime is taking place, has taken place, or is about to take place. So this is why stop and frisks are illegal in most places, because there's no probable cause. Because they're just randomly picking out people based on criteria on the outside without any crime being there. But one of the things that I thought, my first initial thought is, son, this is your lawyer? This is your lawyer? She's talking about people were trying to cover up her goods, talking about the man was crucified. This man is not Jesus. There's no cross here, talking about he was crucified. I find this woman to be highly unprofessional. I do. Let's go forward. If you notice, she's distracted during it. When she starts making some statements, look at her body language and her shaking of her head when she gets towards the closing part of the video. Then she talks about how Nothing happened. This was one of the first things that she said. Nothing happened. We saw that something did happen. And her premise is that he doesn't do drugs, so he wouldn't drug anyone else. If the drug is a roofie, why would he be taking roofies himself? What does him and his use or non-use of drugs have to do with administering them to other people? Especially if these are, did Bill Cosby take his quote unquote drugs that he was administering to people? Was he on those? Was he also passed out? No. These drugs were used to incapacitate a person. All right, so let's go on. She said that all she saw was a consensual dance. And then we're going to look at the verbiage for what sexual assault is, talking about as a consensual dance. And then she's going to say that, oh, you know what? I need to play that again. Because did she say that he did not take her to another room? Or that he took her to another room where aid was being administered? In the dark, sis? For real? As the woman is screaming, no, don't do that to me. With her pum-pum out the door, panani all showing up with her frock pulled up in the damn air as this man carries her off the dance floor after spitting on his hand and shoving it up underneath her dress. Really, sis? All right. All right. Here we go. Let's jump. And then one of her other statements is that nobody else alerted, that no one else noticed that or alerted. I'm sorry. There were people on. She said that she looked at the footage. Is she purposely omitting that? Or maybe, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put up some footage for this lady to see. So hopefully she can see this footage. She says she's combing through social media, right? So maybe she can see this footage while there's still enough time for her to back out of representing this person. There were people on the dance floor who said that she felt that the man had effed her to sleep. Other people are saying that they heard somebody saying, is he raping her? There was a woman who was incoherent, and at the very least, this man was suckling on her neck and grappling on her naked breasts. Let's read the language right now. This woman, Shequel, hey, he didn't, you know what? Leave it to a person like him to have a lawyer like that. So you know what? Let's jump into the verbiage. So this is one of the things that I want you all to do. There's this thing called penal code, you know? You know what? I have to laugh. I have to laugh because my very first job was at the district attorney's office in New York. My very, very first job. And when I talk about becoming an entrepreneur, I don't know if you all remember the stories, but I lived across the street from a precinct. My very first business was selling goods to police officers. I was going to go into law myself, but I decided that I would go a different direction. So when I took media, I took law classes as well. And there are people that I'm going to show you a comment from a man who's talking about Tonya should be sued for defamation. We'll talk about that at the end. You know what? So this is what I want you to do. And this goes for any state. Because the laws, remember, we live in the United States of America, and each state has states' rights. This is one of those things that people are constantly fighting about. So we have the umbrella of federal law, and then each state has their own law. So you have to look up what the verbiage says for each state. If you Google penal code, Georgia, and rape, in Georgia, the language just says state code, I believe. I'll tell you in just one moment. Georgia code. That's what it says. But here we go. So I'm going to show you this graphic right here. So graphic A shows the actual numbers of the law. So we have for rape is 16-6-1. And then when we scroll all the way down, sexual assault is, let's see. Well, I'll put that in afterwards. I didn't take that screenshot because everything was moving so quickly. So here we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to go now to a different graphic. We're going to go to this graphic from statelaws.findlaw.com, which is going to talk about the definition of sexual battery in Georgia. So sexual battery occurs when a person intentionally makes physical contact with the intimate parts of another person's body without their consent. The code defines intimate parts as the primary genital area, anus, groin, inner thighs, or buttocks of a male or the female, and the breast of a female. Okay? And then it goes into aggravated sexual battery, and that's when you put a foreign object. I'll read it for you. Aggravated sexual battery happens when a person intentionally penetrates with a foreign object the sexual organ or anus of another person without their consent. The code defines foreign object as any article or instrument other than the sexual organ of a person. So this would include fingers, okay? All right. So here we go. What we're going to do now is we're going to look at the definition of rape. So the definition of rape is the crime of rape generally refers to non-consensual sexual intercourse that is committed by physical force, threat of injury, or other duress. Common law defined rape as unlawful intercourse by a man against a woman who is not his wife by force or threat and against her will. However, most states have refined and broadened the statutory definition of rape so that marriage, gender, and force are not relevant. The victim's lack of consent is the crucial element. A lack of consent can include the victim's inability to say no to intercourse due to the effects of drugs or alcohol. Rape can occur when the offender and victim have pre-existing relationships, sometimes called date rape, or even when the offender is the victim's spouse. I'm glad that they opened it up for that, right? To convict, listen to this, to convict an offender for rape, some form of sexual penetration, however slight, must occur. Each instance of penetration can serve as a count of rape as well. The most common form of rape is forcible rape, in which the offender uses violence or threat of violence to force a victim into sexual intercourse. In most states, however, rape can occur in a number of ways, including posing as a public official and threatening to arrest or punish the victim. All right. So the law is very clear. The law is very clear. In order for this to be considered rape, genital penetration has to be involved. However, for sexual battery, as we see, all we need is for the person to not be willing and for the other person to touch on their breast or any other of their private parts. And as we saw in that video, I'm not going to put the assault of Jasmine in this video. I have the video up of her on the dance floor, but there is an extended clip because some people are like, oh, that wasn't him who carried her off. I have an extended clip that I will publish so that you all can see when he lifts her up and then takes her into a room where there is no music. So his claim is that they were still on the dance floor. He was trying to get her to stand up. And this woman is like, no, 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 hollering in this back room, however intoxicated she is. And then this lawyer, Shequel, starts talking about how the girl entered a twerk contest. And from what it is that we know, and I wish that I had done the research on ketamine before this blog, but we don't know what it is that was in her system. We don't know what type of tranquilizer, sedative, or drug had been placed in her system. And so we need to look and see what type of how long, because you all are telling me that the effects of ketamine it can take 10 to 30 minutes to take effect, and it can wear off after about an hour. So, and then the person is in a trance-like state where they may not be aware of what is going on. Also, memory loss. So let's take a look at the talk screen and see what it is that she had in her system. This lady, Shequel, is talking about how there was her biggest defense at this moment seems to be that there was no police report filed, or that people who they themselves may have been intoxicated did not alert anyone. She already said that this is a place where people drink. So the people who were witnessing this, who knows what their agenda was. So if her defense is that there was no police report filed yet, remember, the statute of limitation for the filing of a police report for a sexual assault is, in Georgia, either 5 or 10 years. That's the typical 5, 10 years. In some places, it's a lifetime. All right. So if this is what her presenting information is, then they're in trouble. They're in trouble because video footage shows that the man was grappling on this woman's breast. Another thing I want to show you, which I thought was really interesting, this woman Shequel. Part of the reason that I was a little reluctant about doing this story is because when you look at her YouTube video has 400 views. This video that I do right here is going to get more views than her video. I didn't want to bring more shine to her, but I know that you all are interested in this story, so we're talking about it. But when we talk about shine, let's take a look at the hashtags that this woman is using. So here we go. On Instagram, she's using hashtags like Wall Street Journal, the Daily Report. She used the hashtag trending. This is so sad. So sad. Then she goes on to use hashtags. Let me scroll this up a little. She used hashtags him too, Fox News, rolling out. As you see, she got that graphics coming across the damn screen for people to freaking subscribe. Unbelievable. Then she got the hashtag newsworthy. And look at the last hashtag. She entered a twerk contest. Then she go on the other hashtags inside there, BET, Me Too, Equal Justice, Good Morning America. You know, this case, this thing is so messy that we got a clout-chasing lawyer. This man done lawyered up with a clout-chasing lawyer who her herself is hashtagging her stuff trending and newsworthy, trying to get on Good Morning America. Lord have mercy. And then let's take a look at her hashtags on YouTube. This is pitiful and disgusting. Here she go. Hashtags trending, the Daily Report, CNN. She added CNN on there. Wall Street Journal, Dominique is innocent. Men's rights. Then she got Fox News, BET, justice for Dominique. You freaking kidding me? Justice for Dominique? Rolling out him too, Good Morning America, and all these other things. Clout chasing lawyer coming on the scene with the gangster lead. Okay, I'm not going to go there. But coming on the scene with this, talking about nothing happened. Something happened, ma'am. And that's why there is a trial. That's why there's a trial to figure this out. Figure out what happened, because something did happen. Something did happen. You know, so he got a lawyer who's black and female, youngish, because of the optics. If he got a lawyer that was white and female, the optics of that, or white and male, the optics of that. So he found a lawyer who's the same race and gender as the alleged victim. Look at that. This is, you know, what's very, 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 very interesting is that if this goes to trial, and hopefully it will, because from what it is that I'm hearing, the people who are reporting that Jasmine is not cooperating with the police, that they are reporting falsely. She's operating under the guidance of counsel. And so we're going to see how things unfold. But if this goes to trial, and you know, we talk about a jury of your peers, and we know that black people have all these issues with jury duty, so who are going to be the jury of his peers? It's going to be white men on there, white women, men, women. Who's it going to be? And will they too see the footage, hear her cries for help, and believe that, quote unquote, nothing happened? And I told you all that we were going to talk about defamation real quick before we left this video, right? Because there's a person who's talking about, you should get Tonya, because she did numerous videos slandering. And I'm going to say this. It is up to the plaintiff to prove that the statements that a person is making are false. And they also have to prove damages. So first they have to prove that me saying that this man is a sexual assaulter is false. Because as we see from the video, there was sexual battery that occurred. So prove me false on that, hun. Prove me false on that. And then people are talking about, oh, then he's like, oh, she monetized the video. She's making money. And as you all know, I have not monetized any of the videos with Jasmine's footage in it. However, I've been talking about this for 2 weeks, and this is my full-time occupation. So I'm going to have to start monetizing my videos soon, because 2 weeks is half of a month. I need to start monetizing my videos, but I will not monetize the videos with the footage of her assault, alleged or otherwise. So listen, on that note, I want to hear your thoughts below. This whole thing just reeks. But you know what? It's getting started. If there's anything I love is a good fight. So let's bring it. Let's bring it. We've only just begun. The romance is not over. Listen, so I'm going to get out of here and I will see you all in the comments. I want to hear your thoughts below. I find this highly, I was going to say problematic, but there's a lot of interesting tidbits and nuggets in this. Rewind this several times. I'm going to rewind it a few times and then take a listen to it. So I'm going to jump out of here. I want to see your comments below. Go out there and love one another, but most importantly, what? Love yourself. Love yourself. And loving yourself is admitting when you have a problem and seeking help. Admitting when you have a problem and seeking help, and not enabling, on the flip side, not enabling people and their self-destructive behavior. Nothing happened, please. Something happened, all right. We're going to get to the bottom of what that was. So on that note, Tonya TKO, and I am out. Peace.